February 2020, Melly was involved in a multi-inmate fight inside the day room of his area unit and was given a DR for his role in the fight. October 2020, placed on a room restriction for refusing to go back to his cell as he was trying to hide while on the phone.
And developing now, there's a new push to get rapper YNW Melly out of jail. He's currently awaiting retrial for two childhood friends, but a new lawsuit alleges he's being held in inhumane conditions.
Since Melly's trial isn't set to start until 2027, it is his lawyer's job to have him released on bond or under home arrest. After Bortland, Melly's co-defendant, obtained his plea deal, it was made public. The next possible release date for Melly will be announced tonight. Despite the fact that Bortland's side claimed he didn't snitch by presenting a jail call of him in...
Man, you stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward, they go troll, they quick, they praise it. I'm a young G, just skated for license. But I look like taking the deal that hurt my... I look like giving a about how y'all feel. I'm a young fly, be back to raise and prevail. Damn, why they want to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? It's sport, the sport, and ain't a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW for L, never be stopped. Let's stop playing on my top like y'all know what the f going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly, boys.
However, according to the news, Bortland accepted the plea deal as anticipated. He also indicated that he is speaking by agreeing to a proposal. He just needs to serve 6 more years of the initial 10 years because they gave him 4 years of time served. His deposition has already been requested in the civil case. Since Melly's release is conditioned on Bortland's statements, academics would explain the circumstances. Scholars say the judge ordered Bortland to submit a factual defense for the 2 charges he pleaded not guilty to. You must give a true explanation of how you were an accessory in order to demonstrate that the crime was committed. This is a gunner's appeal, but because of the proffer, he can't say yes, ma'am. He got to sing like Franklin as he went on to explain that it's a plea deal like gunners.
Tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gunner plea. This is a gunner plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunner plea. Why do I say he signed a gunner plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortland, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. What that proved is that Bortland worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that it happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the... Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know that? And then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
Because if Melly is made to admit that the crime was committed, he will be the only suspect left. However, Bortland's successful deal surprised the court, which said, I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off.
And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct? Yes. And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number one, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first-degree. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the 2 accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
No finer plea deal has ever existed. According to Bradford Cohen, Kodak Black's attorney, Bortland has bitten the cheese and is probably going to turn on Melly after agreeing to the plea, agreement that resulted in Lil Wayne and Kodak Black being sentenced to 10 years in prison with time.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortland. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
As even 6IX99 would write, Portland simply accepted his plea deal with the prosecution. Melly is finished. I told you about all these rap guys years ago, but because they were scared of my size, everyone picked me out. That's what rappers claimed after Melly's lawyers battled a judge to get him out of jail. Melly has even ordered a $100,000 chain to be worn upon his release from prison because he is so sure that he will be freed.
I would assume that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry and you're not here to wear the jewelry?
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend
That's
money
what
on.
bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine, but it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro. And now it's like, he don't even want the chain no more.
That's because Melly just sued the county jail, exposing them. Melly wants to be released from prison immediately after suing the Broward Sheriff's Office for inhumane treatment. Melly also claims that they have prohibited him from visiting or speaking to any of his relatives for the previous 3 years. Melly has been surviving in a cold prison cell with little access to human contact and very little edible food. In an interview, Melly's mother describes his existence in prison in a disturbing way, suggesting that he won't stay there for long. In an interview, she yelled about Melly's first trial being declared a mistrial, which won the case, but still resulted in her imprisonment. In addition, he was not allowed to use a phone or even check.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
Jamie King would subsequently reveal that she is completely heartbroken for her kid. She feels helpless because he isn't even getting human.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone.
The media gave this a lot of coverage, especially from industry insiders. This is the best way for Melly to live, Charleston White replied.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated. When you done chose to play somebody.
As a result, Boozy spoke about the circumstances and his empathy for
Okay, so
Then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
He's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
At this time, the federal government responded to Melly's accusation by arresting his ex-girlfriend,
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
In return for the judge releasing her, Mariah consented to testify at Melly's trial. That she agreed is terrible for Melly. She posted on Facebook to thank her village. I love you all. The divine, not my plan. they found disturbing evidence of Melly urging Mariah to not testify during the trial on her iCloud account. In contrast with the double case, witness tampering carries a life term in jail.
State filing 6 new charges against Demmons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Juvie's father told us how Melly managed to do it. But because of the tampering, Melly is not allowed to use the jail.
This kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person, and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom.
However, if it were proven that Melly had tampered with the phone, which is why he was not allowed to give this information, the judge's decision on his bond release would be affected. He would question the prosecutors for explanations for not releasing Melly, because they revealed that they had correspondence from Melly accepting it.
The Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
It's odd to see how happy Melly and Bortland appear in a video that shows them dancing only 5 hours after the crime. Though,
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! But no, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
however, Melly was unknowingly captured on video again as he climbed into the car's back left seat. The direction of the bull traveling from left to right in the car supports the claim that they originated from the back left seat where Melly was positioned, according to the official court papers. His existence was even confirmed by Juvie's mother.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
I'm Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
However, this caused Melly's lawyers to respond. No firearm was ever found in relation to the incident. They told the judge.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay.
Following that, they would talk about the evidence found inside Bortland's home.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortland was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortland, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Demmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortland allegedly tampered with the witness.
As the announcement was made by Bryson, Paul, these images depict alleged notes discovered during Bortland's house invasion that indicate the whereabouts of particular jurors, Seats with a description of how they look. Just when Bortland seemed ready to pull away from Melly, Melly's lawyers started throwing damaging documents at him.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortland, how the you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the on! It's like doing and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro! Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
But this is where Melly becomes concerned, so let me explain. Portland will confirm all of the new material the prosecution wants to use against Melly, including why Fredo Bang picked her up from the side of the road.
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens then, about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
But they also want to provide evidence from a Facebook post that shows Melly with Young Thug, proving that Melly is part of the Red Street crew.
The use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, and he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has the big B hand signs displayed.
Okay, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see.
But in court, this enraged Melly. He was fine with the prosecutors bringing that up in the case, despite his lawyer's wishes to keep it from happening. According to reports, today's hearing marks the first time Melly publicly went against his legal team's advice in open court, as Melly was seen yelling at his lawyer.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
You object to this. You're requesting me to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us.
I don't care, Melly was heard saying by others in the courtroom. My name is not on the squad. It is impossible for them to prove that.
Where? 924-071. Call for an automatic stay while
They were aggravators. They go to membership and again, there are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the for the further conviction, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yeah.
However, one former OBLAC member who testified that Melly had told King Vaughn a secret before Van's passing, and Melly's arrest is the testimony they want to utilize. The two were good buddies. King Vaughn told the people of OBLAC that Melly had asked for instruction on how to deal with.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? What the bam? I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
Since Bortland was asked if he knew who did it the night of the crime, they will use his interrogation against Melly.
Just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't.
Where there is no clear yes or no answer in Bortland's voice. He nods his head no because he was worried that his body language would allow the detective to determine whether or not he was lying. This was a clear indication to the police that Bortland had no intention of becoming involved. As a result, the officer continued to ask him about other parts of the